Good morning and welcome to my Cloffice. This morning I want to talk to you about who you are and whose you are. I've been doing this Lisa Bevere study called Without Rival with a group of young ladies, and it is an amazing study. I really recommend it. And Monday night, something that Lisa said in the study was how important it is that we know who we are and whose we are. And so as I got into the Word today, the Lord directed me to look at Samuel and the life of Samuel. And Samuel was dedicated to the Lord, and he went and lived at the temple at a young age to serve there, to serve and work in the temple and be trained. But he was dedicated to the Lord and to the work of the Lord. And he then led Israel as a prophet, as a priest, and as a judge. And then the Israelites were calling for a king, and although that wasn't really what God wanted them to have a king, he wanted them to have a judge, but the people wanted a king, So the Lord had Samuel anoint Saul to be the first king of Israel. Now, then King Saul disobeyed God, so the Lord had Samuel anoint David to be king. Now, Samuel had to know who he was and whose he was. He had to know that he was the Lord's, that he was the prophet of the Lord, the priest of the Lord, the judge of the Lord, and he belonged to the Lord. Because if he didn't know that, if he thought he was the king's, he might not have been able to go and anoint David, because that's scary business. But because he knew that he was first and foremost and only the Lord's, then he was able to walk in obedience with what the Lord was telling him to do. So today, my friends, I want to encourage you to look at your life and ask yourself this question: who am I and whose am I? And I believe that if you get with the Lord and you get in the presence of the Lord and you get into the Word of God and ask the Lord, He will tell you who you are. He will tell you what He says about you, what He thinks about you, who He created you to be. Because He has that answer for you. I'm reminded of Caspian saying to Aslan saying it's time for you to be king. And Caspian says, I don't think I'm ready. And he says, that's how I know that you are. As you walk in humble obedience with the Lord, He will direct your path to raise you up into who He's called you to be. So on this day, I encourage you, press into the Lord. Find out while you're in His presence who you are and whose you are. Who owns you? Who do you belong to? I belong to the King of all kings, to Jesus Christ, to Creator God. Who are you and whose are you? Have a fantastic day, and God bless.